Who's not dead? Hallmark.
Dancing on Hollywood's grave.
Ben.
It's a holly molly Christmas. And Dad chopped some wood. And Emily,
Holly, Molly, and Sarah. Clip that. Hi, and welcome to Bird Brains. It's a podcast where we talk about all things culture and digital media.
I'm Travis Stevens.
And I'm Emily Kerrigan.
And we are here on this lovely set of our Winter Wonderland podcast set. I love it. I'm especially loving your little jingle bells on your thing.
Can you hear them? You may hear them intermittently
So
throughout.
lovely. I can't wait to learn exactly what we're talking about today.
Oh, Travis, I'm so glad you brought it up. We are talking about Hallmark and the mark that they have left on us as a culture today.
Okay. This may be like, I kind of love the Hallmark movies.
Do you really? Are you a secret Hallmark fan?
I am.
When I think of entertainment and media and I think of Christmas,
Okay.
the very first thing that I think of, Hallmark movies.
Oh, I was like going to You'll Shoot Your Eye Out. But yes, Hallmark movies.
Wow, way to get into the season of the spirit.
Well,
Or the spirit of the season. Wow. Way to get into the spirit of the season.
we can do both. No, you know what I'm talking about. A Christmas Story. Ralphie, you shoot your eye out.
No, I've actually never seen A Christmas Story. Welcome.
The what? The what?
Welcome to part 25,000 of conversations we've had where I have not seen important movies and Travis is shocked. I know.
I can't even wrap my head around
We'll
that
put it on
one,
the
though.
list.
Okay.
I blame my parents. That feels like something that you should be showing your children at some point.
Do you own a DVD player?
No.
So I can't loan a DVD.
We do. Okay. Breaking news. We do, in fact, own a DVD player. Yeah.
I'll put that on the list.
Perfect.
Reminder set.
We'll watch it this Christmas.
Bring Will and Emily the DVD of A Christmas Story.
Well, very excited. Looking forward to that. But we're going to talk about maybe some bad Christmas movies today. But that's all a matter of opinion,
Okay.
right? So
And we have those.
Hallmark, obviously known for their holiday movies. What comes to mind for you when I say Hallmark holiday movie?
Formula.
Can you describe what that formula is for us?
Okay. So it starts off with this. You're putting me on the spot. Okay. It starts off with a woman. She is probably working a high-powered job in the city, and she has lost her passion and her will and her connection to everything. And her parents call her, and back home in the small town that she comes from, there's a bad thing that happens. There's a crisis that's going on, and she needs to come back home and help her parents with the thing, right? And when she gets back there, she realizes that maybe she doesn't have the connections that she used to. She feels a little bit out of place now because she's moved away and grown internally. Do you like how I'm kind of performing this?
This is incredible.
And then she sees her unrequited love. And maybe she's got a love interest in the city, but that love interest doesn't know her true soul. Her true soul is known by the guy back home, right? But there are reasons that they're not together, and those reasons make themselves apparent again in Act 2. And then we have the parents siding on, maybe hometown boy wasn't all bad. He just needed to grow a little bit. And mom really lets her know that dad was one of those, and dad grew, and look at the man your father is now. Isn't he lovely? And dad chops some wood and they decorate the house. And then the hometown crisis comes to a head in Act 3, and everybody has to get together and scramble, and it's through the bumbling of the city boy love interest that just never got it, and then the heroism of the local town boy, that things come together, and the woman remembers who she was and how love is supposed to work, and maybe she's going to move back home and give up all those darn city dreams. And then the spirit of Christmas comes in and we hear jingle bells, and maybe mom and dad are Santa and Mrs. Claus in disguise, and everything works out. Merry Christmas, and then we kiss. Was that too much? I feel like I lived the whole movie just now.
I lived the whole movie. That was actually perfect. This was not he didn't know. He didn't know we were talking about it. He did not prepare.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was going to give you a recently dumped high-powered female executive from the city finds new love, purpose, and appreciation for Christmas in a small town with the help of a handsome local fellow.
Yes.
But your version was so much better.
And dad chops wood.
The parents being Mr. and Mrs. Claus was a nice touch. Well, okay, so obviously, I think we're all pretty familiar with the Hallmark formula, and we will deep dive a little bit into that about the formula and what it is and how it works. But I'm curious, are there any Hallmark movies that you can remember that you've watched or have like stuck out to you from throughout the years?
No.
They all kind of blend together.
They're all they're all the same.
You were just an AI that we just fed every Hallmark movie to.
I am an AI.
Yeah.
Yes, my intelligence is completely artificial.
I feel pretty similarly. There's not a ton that stand out. There's one that I remember watching at like, I think my grandma's house. It's called The 12 Men of Christmas. And I remember it because it's got Kristen Chenoweth starring.
Oh, okay. That was different than the movie I thought maybe you had accidentally watched at your grandma's
No,
house.
but it is like a raunchier Hallmark. I mean, nothing happens, but it's like she is a publicist, I think, who comes from big city back to do a calendar for the local town that she grew up in. And so it's like 12 hot local men who all have to, firefight, all everything that you can think of. And she's doing the calendar shoots of them.
The hardware store owner.
But it makes me, I think I remember it mostly because of Kristen, who is, by the way, more of a Hallmark hero than I thought. She's been in like 8 or 10 Hallmark movies, and I think also a bunch of Lifetime movies. Actually, that may have been a Lifetime movie. I might be lying.
Is there a difference, really? I mean, I know there's a difference, but
I'm glad you bring that up, Travis.
Segue.
What a nice segue.
I love how I stumble into
It's actually
things.
perfect. It's literally my next bullet point. So there is kind of this rivalry between Hallmark and Lifetime. And there are very subtle nuances that I think differentiate the types of movies they put out, even though they feel essentially the same.
So you could be watching a Hallmark movie and go, wow, this is kind of a Lifetime vibe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so Lifetime started years ago as like a health and fitness channel in the original cable days. Did you know that?
I actually didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like Regis Philbin had a show on it, it was all about like health and exercise and stuff like that. So, and then it grew up, and then the dinosaurs came. Probably a different movie that you don't know about, but here we go. And so, I would say the Lifetime is the more adult contemporary that ties back into that nostalgia, where the Hallmark just bathes in the nostalgia. Like they are the Christmas card company. They are the people that did it. And so, yeah, they just settle and ooze that nostalgia in the most obsessive ways.
You're not off by much. I mean, what I found was the biggest differences are Lifetime often actually features younger characters than Hallmark.
Yeah,
Hallmark,
adult contemporary.
Yeah, adult contemporary. They have funnier scripts and are a little bit more open to those kind of, not even raunchy, but
innuendo
stuff. Yeah, nothing actually happens still in Lifetime movies, but they are more likely to insinuate, and they're oftentimes a lot more diverse. So they kind of feel, again, like you put it, the contemporary of Hallmark in many ways. And Hallmark really has stuck to their guns.
Yeah.
However, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So the rivalry between these two is strong, though interestingly enough, there's enough room for everyone, it seems. Once you're a Lifetime star, you don't really do Hallmark movie. Once you've kind of been attached as doing multiple, like you don't do the others. And
So
Lifetime,
like Lacey Chabert,
I'm so glad you brought her up.
where is she?
She is the queen of Hallmark. Undisputed.
She's Hallmark.
She's done 38 Hallmark movies.
What?
She has an exclusive
How do you
deal.
go from like Party of Five to Hallmark Queen?
She has an exclusive deal with Crown Media, which is Hallmark's, media brand.
Okay.
She is not only on screen, but she is doing development, creative, producing. In last year, The Wedding Veil, which is like a film trilogy, she not only developed and starred, but was also an executive producer. So Lacey is getting her crown money. She's a smart girl.
She is the mover and shaker in the halls of power.
In the halls of Hallmark.
I kind of love it. Okay.
Yeah. To me, Lacey Chabert is like Ellen Pompeo in a lot of ways, and she is one of the richest women and arguably most successful women in the film and television industry. She was on that show. She started Grey's Anatomy when it was kind of, you could only do TV or film. Mm-hmm. And people were like, oh, this girl is just a soap star. She has been on, I think, 20-something seasons of that show. She's been an executive producer for a long time. I think she now like owns part of the IP. That woman, all I'm saying is Ellen and Lacey have the kind of careers that I would want to have if I were an actress in Hollywood.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about the memification of Hallmark. It seems every year the Hallmark memes pop up and it only grows, right? TikTok loves talking about Hallmark movies. They love making jokes at their expense. And
do you think that's just the young, cynical people digging at it, and like the older, nostalgic people are like warm and inviting in their hearts, and it just kind of proves that those young people are mean?
Because my mom would joke about Hallmark. You just made a whole joke about Hallmark at the beginning of this podcast.
I did not. I just laid out the formula.
You laid out the formula.
That was not a joke. That was the movie I wanted to see.
I think there's something about the formula that has people entranced in this way where it's so predictable, which is why it's easy to meme. But
it's comfort food.
Comfort food.
It's predictable the way this ginger snap cookie. Again, listening at home.
That was a good crunch.
Ginger snap.
Did you get that? He got it. The producer got it.
You know what to expect. You know what to expect from this. And does that take away from the loveliness of my ginger snap cookie? Absolutely not.
And I would argue that the conversation around Hallmark every year at the holiday season contributes to their success, right? I mean, there's a reason that we keep saying Hallmark movie and not Lifetime movie. Even though you know what a Lifetime movie is, Hallmark is like Band-Aid, right? They've defined the category of Christmas comfort food movies.
Yeah, even though my
family.
brain still goes greeting card company, it is a media empire now.
Absolutely. They are definitely using the formula, but attacking a younger generation because, and this is a Lifetime one, not a Hallmark one, but there's a movie that came out this season called Christmas in the Spotlight.
Okay.
That is taking the lives of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and their love story and just ripping it off to a T.
I love this.
She is down to the dance moves she does as a pop star. It's literally like they took a Taylor Swift music video or a video from the Eras tour and just copied the choreography exactly.
Who is the star?
I don't know.
Who is?
They were not recognizable.
Okay. Are you a consumer of Hallmark Lifetime?
I'm really not. But I'm intrigued now because the formula of this and how I have often considered them to maybe be fluff movies doesn't necessarily mean they're bad because there's clearly an audience.
Yeah. And here's the thing that I find really, really interesting. So, and it's just kind of part of like my idea about kind of collaborative creativity. Where often just free range creativity, you can think and write about anything, anywhere, anytime or whatever, versus creativity that like, here is your sandbox, right? And putting constraints on creativity often like brings about like kind of little flashes of genius in like these very interesting ways. And so the idea of everything being so formulaic and then the creatives that are just bound to this formula, but bursting at their seams to try and get some sort of joy or creativity out of the exercise, even against all odds, right?
Yeah.
And I think that comes through in when you watch those movies, if you ever watch them, and you're like, oh, there was actually energy and joy in this thing, even though I knew exactly what was coming, versus, oh, I kind of felt the cynicism of going through the motions of this thing. In that same realm of we have a sandbox that we have to operate in from the formula, there's also those things get produced in like 15 days, right? 15 days. You have 3 operating weeks of filming, and the budget is you are allowed to spend, X amount of dollars each day, and it is minuscule on a Hollywood kind of scale, right? Minuscule amount of money. And they have to absolutely drill every single shot exactly, and listen, and they shoot them beautifully. Like, it has to look right, it has to be acted decently, and they still nail.
They're selling the Christmas fantasy.
Yeah, they still nail it. I don't know. I have kind of a deeper appreciation for these things, and maybe the reason why I kind of knew the formula.
Yeah.
Maybe I actually want to write and direct a Christmas
I think we
movie.
should. Let's do it.
Like, there's a little piece of me. I have a pitch.
It'd be fun.
I have a pitch. It's the Christmas Witch.
Well, don't say it on this podcast. Someone's gonna rip our idea.
Oh, our idea. It already happened.
Someone's gonna rip Travis's idea. No, I think I would trust a Hallmark producer with just about anything. I have to imagine that the kinds of people who are producing these movies are whip smart.
Oh, on their game.
Absolutely
right.
on their A game. Yeah.
And it's precision driving, right? There is no
room for
error.
Well, so they release on average 40 movies each holiday season. But what I didn't know 40 movies. What I didn't know before I did research for this is they release a new movie every weekend, year round. A new movie.
A new Christmas movie?
No.
Oh, just a movie.
Just a movie.
A Lifetime
because
Hallmark.
I saw a really great article that I love the title of. It was something along the lines of, "No one told Hallmark that cable is dead." Because while linear viewing is obviously down significantly in the past 10 years, Hallmark is still killing it on cable. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
What this reminds me of, and so this will take me into the Wayback Machine. My mom used to read to escape, right? Mm-hmm. And she would sit on our family sofa. The family would be watching movies or whatever, and she would be reading Harlequin romances. And Harlequin romances, like, again, formulaic. And she had like 1,000 of these books in the house, and she would just rip through them. And that was at a time, like, maybe reading was dead or whatever. But I think once you get, your demographic, your genre, exactly what you're trying to give to the people, and they know what they want from this product, it starts stepping outside of, general trend lines and stuff.
Absolutely.
And it becomes its own mechanics. And I think that's like really fascinating.
Can I give you some interesting stats about the Hallmark Channel and their success?
You would.
Well, I will.
I wish you would.
So they are still currently serving 70 million cable viewers.
My brain went, there are 70 million cable
Apparently.
viewers.
Yes. And Hallmark is serving all of them.
Huh.
In addition to all the movies that they make, they recently launched a new TV series in 2023. It's a time travel mystery called The Way Home, and it currently ranks among cable's 5 most watched original entertainment series of that year.
That's amazing.
And there's a season 2 that came out in 2024.
That's
so
amazing.
they're doing great in both television and film on cable TV. The Hallmark Channel is still currently the number 2 most watched cable entertainment network. This is in 2023. I'm assuming it's the same in 24.
Who's number 1?
HGTV. However, there's a good chance that Hallmark is going to eventually beat them out. Their average total day audience is just behind HGTV, and they are the number 1 entertainment network in cable among adult women specifically, which is not a surprise. top entertainment network among all viewers for Saturdays and Sundays. When we look at the strategy of why Hallmark has been able to maintain a cable audience when other cable channels have not, if we turn back the clock, in 2018, when every other cable channel and network was like, oh my God, streaming, we have to do streaming, we have to do it now, Netflix, Hallmark held their ground. They did not change what they were offering on cable. And to this day, they continue to maintain a cable first strategy. So they have a deal with Peacock, and a lot of Hallmark movies can be found on Peacock. However, they only stream next day only, and they stay on NBC Universal for 72 hours so that they have the exact same catch-up period as Hallmark's cable video on demand users. So just because it's on streaming, they're ensuring that their cable viewers are always getting the premium experience, which is totally opposite than every other network.
You know who also probably that makes happy is the advertisers.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? So
yeah.
And we know money drives all things. And so yeah, just being able to demonstrate consistency of numbers over time probably makes our advertisers are like, oh, yeah, great. I know X number of eyeballs at X time.
How exciting that in a time where everyone is preaching the fact that cable television and streaming are dying and or dead, that there is still a robust network that is putting out...
I wrote an article today that was Hollywood was dead. Not even just
Hollywood's dead.
All of Hollywood.
You know who's not dead? Hallmark. Okay? Hallmark thriving.
Dancing on Hollywood's grave.
At the end of the day, this incredibly formulaic, simple, straightforward programming that has kind of a consistent message and tone is what has endured.
You know why?
Tell us.
People need hope.
People need hope.
A lot of these things and the formulaic kind of nature of it and the consistency is much like comfort food. It's why these things are maintaining the popularity right now is kind of all of the craziness that's going on in the world. Yeah, I think it's the cultural equivalent of just like wanting to go home and eat some chicken and dumplings and like noodles or mashed potatoes or something like that with gravy. I think that this is like the media consumptive equivalent of doing that. And I think people want it. I think people want it a lot.
And then look at how streamers are trying to copy this, right? Netflix has been making Hallmark-esque Christmas movies for the past number of years. Holiday is one that I actually really enjoyed. That was like Emma Roberts and Luke Bracey. This year, the big one I think that's blowing up is called Hot Frosty, and it's about a snowman that gets turned into a real boy. And he's wearing this scarf, and if he takes the scarf off, he'll turn back into the snowman. And it's the guy who plays Ted in Schitt's Creek, who is just so charming and like really sweet.
I was thinking, did they cast Glenn Powell for that one?
Oh my gosh. In Hot Frosty. So, but you see the streamers trying to make their way. I think though, they don't have the same consistency, right, that we're talking about in terms of production to make a churn of movies like this at that cost and at that rate. So
maybe they too also are struggling with what's the Netflix or whichever streamer version of this formula. Yeah. So, you know, if Hallmark defined the formula and Lifetime was able to find their vibe on the formula, maybe that's what they're like, and they're just missing, you know, it's like, and it's not to say it's good or bad or any kind of quality judgment on it, but it's like, yeah, people aren't just kind of, or they don't know to show up for that vibe. Maybe
one of the biggest surprise successes on Netflix has actually been Virgin River, which we know because we just, by the time this episode is live, have just gotten to do a really fun fan watch party for Virgin River where we streamed the first episode of the 6th season for fans before it went live on Netflix.
Virgin River has become our speciality.
We know a lot about Virgin River, but actually some of the execs who I think oversaw Virgin River were they used to be Hallmark.
Very Hallmark vibes.
And you gotta wonder, like, that show has done so well for Netflix. Again, we look at the consistency in terms of ratings and viewership for this kind of programming, and we can all make fun of it and laugh and joke about the content, but it gets views.
So I think that one thing that, like, if you look at, like, subsets of artistic endeavors, especially in the media space, all too often they're just so quick to dump on things that they don't think are like true art. So say like comic books, comic books back in the day, they would absolutely just kind of dump on them of the artists that were drawing for them, of the writers. And it wasn't until the people that grew up with those comic books then kind of grabbed the reins of power that like, comic books and graphic novels, they are kind of their own art set. I think the same thing kind of happens with these types of movies. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair.
Yeah.
I think that the artists that do go, you know what, this is where I'm planting my flag. Lacey Chabert has planted her flag into this realm, right? And she's like, take it or leave it. And I don't think it's 100% like a money grab. I think the cynics out there would be like, oh, they're just, trying to make the money off of it. I think that the people that come back and keep doing it, I do think that people get motivated to start in it because like, oh, I can make a living doing this. I think the people that stay in it because they have found a reason that they actually love doing it.
I couldn't agree more. Contrarian viewpoints about media are very popular to have because...
I think they always have been, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm the critic. I can be the critic. Oh, and whether or not you're digging into why Star Wars sucks or why any of these kind of populist kind of things, I think that contrarian view, it just lets you put yourself on this kind of intellectual pedestal that may or may not actually be real,
Because listen, if you can do better, by all means, do better.
Do better.
Go ahead. Prove them wrong.
I'll give you a camera.
Do better. So I've got a little bit of Hallmark history trivia for you.
Okay.
Are you ready? What was the very first Hallmark holiday movie on television, and what year did it broadcast?
Okay. 1970s starring Farrah Fawcett.
Oh, I wish. No.
Or is it, it's just
We
my
all
fantasy?
wish.
I don't
We
know.
all wish. 1951
What?
was the very first time that Hallmark sponsored a Christmas Eve broadcast. And this is exciting for me. It was A Mall and the Night Visitors, which is an English opera.
This is absolutely, that's
know.
kind of stunning to me.
I know.
That means that they've been on this game for
They've been on it.
75 years.
They have. And so by the 90s, that's when they really solidified themselves as these absolute just icons of Christmas media. But the 50s, shocking.
Shocking.
Absolutely shocking. The New York Times analyzed 424 Hallmark and Lifetime holiday movies.
Okay.
What % of them do you think are about Christmas versus other holidays?
95%.
99. You were very close. What % do you think have the word Christmas in the title?
85%.
Ooh, 73. They've tried to differentiate in the past, number of years
Yeah.
as they've gotten some criticisms. But what % of Hallmark and Lifetime leads are in high-powered jobs?
92.
Shocking. Only 22% of female leads start the movie in a big city corporate job like lawyer, developer, architect, brand strategist. Just as many work at a local shop, have jobs as like writers or reporters. There's some ones who are like very specific, like gingerbread factory workers.
Are they like really stressed out though? They're all like really stressed
Yeah,
out. Like
they
their
all-
quality of life is low.
Well, not even their quality of life is low, but Hallmark's viewpoint on it is that the women who are featured in these movies, they always have some type of goal, whether that be the goal of finding themselves back in their, family, like they've lost themselves in the big city job, or whether that be they want to go achieve something big, or, and it's not always romantic too. A lot of times Hallmark really stresses in their publicity that the men that they meet along the way are part of the journey, but not the destination. The destination in the formula is always that the woman will achieve whatever her goal is,
I like that.
which I like.
I'm on board for that.
And I actually believe that, right? Because
Yeah.
I do think that we need to celebrate that Hallmark is a place that showcases women 30 and above in lead roles in a way that does not really exist in other parts of Hollywood. What are the most common names for a female lead in a Hallmark movie?
Lacey Chabert.
Well, no, that's her. She's the most common actress. What are the most common names of the characters?
Character name. Maggie, Katie, Tiffany.
Honestly, all great. They should use those. Most common is Emma, and then followed by Lucy and Olivia, and then Emily, Holly, Molly, and Sarah.
Emily,
Holly, Molly, and Sarah. Clip
God.
that. Emily, Molly, Holly, and Sarah. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, it's me, Emily. Holly and Molly.
Okay.
All right. What percent of the love interests in Hallmark holiday movies are handsome local men?
50%.
Only 20%. A lot of them are men that they meet in other places, spaces. A lot of them are, like you told us in the beginning, ex-boyfriends, ex-best friends.
But they're all handsome.
They're all handsome. I do got to say, I will show you after this. It's like the 9 most common men who are cast as leads in Hallmark movies. If you squint, it's nearly identical. There's a type.
My ovaries are practically firing off right
Well,
now.
you say that, but let me give you one more. 20% of the male leads in Hallmark movies are single dads, which is significantly higher than the percentage of single dads in the United States, because Hallmark has said that is very attractive to women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That are the primary caretaker of said child.
Yes, exactly.
Not like I got a baby mama somewhere.
No,
with
these
my
are
kid.
like single dads who probably run a Christmas tree farm.
Right.
And they're, yeah, exactly. What do you think the most common name is for a male lead of a Hallmark movie?
Hunter, Brad,
Those are good.
Frank.
Tom Clancy movies.
I don't know.
Tied between Jack and Ryan for the number 1 spot, which is funny to
Okay.
me. Jack, Ryan. And then we have David, Michael, Nick, and Ben. That's a lot of biblical names in there.
See, my whole thing
David.
is
Ben.
it's a holly molly Christmas.
I know you're laughing now, but I found my Hallmark Christmas movie. Picture this. A Royal Christmas. This is a movie from 2014 starring our favorite, Lacey Chabert. Emily Kerrigan, a devoted seamstress at her family business, is madly in love with her European boyfriend, Leo. But as their first Christmas together approaches, Leo drops a bombshell on his unsuspecting girlfriend. He's actually Prince Leopold, heir to the throne of Cordinia, a small sovereign country. I was the perfect age for Princess Diaries and movies as such.
Yeah.
So the fact that this movie essentially has my name and is about her becoming an unsuspecting princess, I don't know. That is my holiday fantasy.
How does this fit the formula of her having a goal? Like, what's her goal in this movie? Have you watched this
I
movie?
haven't watched it. I think I need to watch it to be able to give you a clear assessment. I would imagine that she probably doesn't feel she can take on the duties of becoming royalty. However, they travel back to Cordinia, and not only does she impress and win over his parents, who are very skeptical of
Yes.
her because she is outside
Yes.
of royalty.
And a peasant.
However, she does so by winning over the people of Cordinia.
Oh, yeah, the other peasants.
And through all of this, we see that she has natural leadership skills and is actually made to be a princess.
Of course she is.
But at the end, she also gets to...
So
she's a devoted seamstress, though, at her family business. So I bet the family business starts making, like, the clothes for all of the royal family or something like that.
Sure.
So her business thrives.
Yeah.
These are the 3 most popular Hallmark movies, as ranked by Forbes, based on audience sentiment and reviews. Are you ready?
I am so very ready.
3rd most popular.
Okay.
Take Me Back to Christmas. A Christmas wish gives Renee the successful life she's always dreamed of. This new reality is perfect, except for one thing. She's no longer married to her husband, Aaron. Now, Renee must race against the clock to win him back before Christmas Eve.
Oh.
Yeah,
He was the right one anyway.
he was the right one. And maybe
She doesn't like get her wish and like she's not married anymore and she's like, yay.
she's like, yay, I'm successful.
Different movie.
That was 2023, so that's
Okay.
a pretty recent one.
Okay.
The next one sounds interesting. 3 wise men and a baby. 3 brothers experience unexpected journeys of self-discovery and healing when they are forced to work together to care for a baby throughout the holidays.
So I guess the Steve Guttenberg one would be like 3 not so wise men and a baby, right?
Which is a good title.
3 idiot men and a baby.
3 idiot men and a baby.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. There's actually a sequel to this one that is coming out this Christmas. I don't know how they could make a sequel of it, but I guess they did.
Okay.
And then coming in at number 1.
I don't know how they could not step on copyright laws with like naming the movie that, but
it's a great question. Coming in at number 1 was A Biltmore Christmas. A magical hourglass sends modern-day screenwriter Lucy Hardgrove to the set of the 1947 holiday movie classic, His Merry Wife. However, before she can return to the present, Lucy must make things right or threaten to alter the future forever. That actually sounds interesting. It's a little bit different than the classic Hallmark formula.
It's like A Year Without a Santa Claus meets Back to the Future.
Yes. And I'd watch anything smashed up with Back to the Future, so.
There it is. Do they give time travel rules?
Oh, I'm certainly not. If anything, the time travel rules are probably limited, and the spirit of Christmas probably is what allows her to not, achieve her goal and not mess up time. That's just my guess, though. Gut feeling.
I have to admit that I'm glad that you read those out, and now I will, form a watch list here for this holiday season.
We're already behind. They started releasing them in October.
Well, as soon as I get a weekend off, binge. I'm just gonna
binge Hallmark
holiday until I am whistling jingle bells and snapping my fingers to the popping of my Yule log. This was a fun holiday Christmas episode, but I think that you can enjoy this any time of the year, much like Hallmark movies.
You can enjoy them every weekend on cable. Let us know your favorite holiday movie in the comments, and we hope that you all have a merry and warm season however you celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm Travis.
I'm Emily.
This has been your winter wonderland of bird brains.
Thank you for joining in.